How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Did it get cold over there?
Yes, it snowed on Saturday.
Here too, actually. How interesting. It didn't stick. It just kind of created a frightful scare for everyone.
Yeah, there was, I'd say, a couple inches on the cars, but it didn't stick to the roads.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am having a Sobe pina colada.
Ah, I haven't had one of those in forever.
Hey Thomas, how are you?
Good. How you doing today?
Fine, thank you. My screen is flashing. Is anyone else's screen flashing?
No, but I hear like a high-pitched whine of some sort.
Thomas, are
Maybe.
you getting that?
Yeah, I'm hearing it. I'm not sure where it's coming from though.
I'm not hearing that.
Oh, it went away.
I'm at Lawrence Tech, so this thing should be going like super smooth. Okay.
Mariah, did that high pitch hum just come back? Oh,
Wow. I wonder what that is. I was at reviews all day today, well, most of the day today, and I'm just sort of deluged with emails. We don't teach you about emails in school, do we? We don't teach you that they wreak havoc in your lives. We don't teach you that they become all consuming, but we should.
Like the greatest and worst invention ever.
Yeah, we should like encourage you not to enter the profession lest that becomes the bane of your existence, for example.
that's not one nice thing about being a little grunt. You don't usually have to do too many emails.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think anybody's a grunt in my office. I rely heavily on my interns. My interns are presenting to clients. My interns are designing projects. My interns are meeting with clients. They're doing an awful lot, Thomas.
Which is a nice thing about a small office. You get your hands dirty with everything rather than just details.
Well, I have 71 people, so I don't know that that's small by the
No.
standards of the office that I came from, but I think it does go to show you that we value them. I value them.
Mark, I have a question. What level of interns does your company take? Because that was just always something that at the old firm that I worked for, we were always debating on whether interns were good or bad, or at what level to bring them on, sort of thing.
Well, so we have a we have a special summer only program that's available to a couple of college kids that are, well, I'll just say this, they're African American, because our boss is African American, and so they're sort of curated from friendships and family friends and things like that from the boss, and so they get special consideration because of their unique sort of DNA, and also because we're committed to giving those kids that are African American a small advantage that they maybe normally wouldn't have, and I support that. So the summer only interns are usually kids from the city going into college in architecture, or in the case of another one, it's a kid from Howard University who's been with us 2 summers and will likely come back. So these are kids that haven't graduated yet.
Okay.
But at Career Fair, I will tell you that I never hire or even interview kids that only have an undergraduate degree. I will only interview and hire kids with a Master of Architecture, because that's what you're going to need here, unless you have a special degree like from Howard University, where that degree is a terminal degree. So I want somebody that is A, a supernova, and B, someone with a master's degree.
So your interns are like architects, like intern architects, not
AXPs.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And hey, Judd, and hi, Zach. So they are they are someone we can rely on, because they have critical thinking skills, they have Revit skills, they have graphic skills, right? They have InDesign and Adobe software skills. They can defend a thesis, right? They can fire on a number of cylinders.
Okay.
Hey, Judd, could you maybe upload your work to Google Drive?
Yep, it's up there.
Okay.
It is in the benchmark 2 folder. My last name, ADS1 benchmark 2, and then there's ADS1 benchmark 2 underscore history are
Okay,
the 2 presentations.
So we will, I'm not seeing Lindsay yet. I'm sure it's there. Why do you ask, Mariah?
We just it was always a debated subject in the firm that I had worked for as to what level we brought interns in at, and whether we even should have at a certain point, because of the amount that some of the people thought we were needing to spend with the interns.
Right.
So it's just always interesting to get another perspective.
Great. Okay, hold on a second. She wants me to send it to a different email. Okay, I have your presentation here.
Okay.
Now I just have to figure out how to get your
You have both of them?
green thing. Not yet. Hold on a second. It also kind of works to a title and pay scale, that sort of thing that we have here. So, hey, Lindsay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, we're perfect.
Awesome.
Judd's here.
Hi.
So let me, how do I, Judd, can you share with Lindsay? How do I do this?
I could shoot an email, or I could do a I could do a share presentation or screen share.
Shoot Lindsay an email to
You can send it.
lindsay.r.woods@gmail.com. LINDSAY period R period Woods WOODS @gmail.com. And then you can share with her the 2 presentations or the whole folder.
Okay, yep.
Thanks.
But I'll shoot an email with both of them. That might just be quicker.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, good. And I think we're going to do the history presentation, and then we're going to do which Lindsay deserves, and then we'll go right into your project, Judd.
Okay. Yep. There looks like one was attached as a Google document. The other one was just attached in the email. And sending them now.
Mateo, I'm on campus.
Hey, Mark.
There we go.
I actually didn't have work today. Otherwise, I would have been there too.
All right. So we're looking at the housing.
Should be history, right?
So there's one that has underscore housing.
Okay.
I'm sorry, underscore history.
Yep.
And the other one that just says my Brood ADS1 benchmark 2.
Okay. Got it.
Got it. Okay, so we're gonna look at the history portion first. And what are the time frames for each presentation again, just so I can be efficient as possible?
Mariah, do you remember how much time we gave? About 6 minutes for the history and the research presentations?
I think it was like 8 or 9 for the overall presentation and 5 or 6 for the research portion.
Yeah, so we'll give you 5 for it, Judd,
Okay, that sounds good.
and you'll hear the quack.
The quack, quack, crack.
Yep.
All right, so here is a just a little bit of information on the history of North End. You know, Detroit was originally settled in 1701. I believe it's one of the oldest cities in the United States. I think it was originally a trading post occupied by the French. And then the North End neighborhood was originally part of Hamtramck until it was annexed by the city of Detroit in 1891. It's primarily a residential neighborhood, but it does also have some industry, some worship, and some businesses and other housing or building typologies. As you can see in the Detroit area map, the relationship with downtown Detroit, it's just north of New Center. It's by Midtown, just a little ways away from downtown, and it's kind of essentially bordered by Woodward and I-75 with the Lodge a little bit further to the west. It's you know it's the origin of a handful of different Motown legends, as you can see in the slide: the Four Tops, Diana Ross, Aretha Franklin. I found some pretty cool information that just had some historic photos to kind of help, you know, show the timeline and projection of different events and building typologies in the North End area. And as you can see in the one photo there, where North End was annexed by Hamtramck, the Arden Park neighborhood was established in 1892. We can go to slide 2. And this just has some slides of different buildings, what year they were built, and it kind of tracks some of the changes throughout the neighborhood, throughout the timeline. And these are from a study I found that was done by a group of students at U of M. So Ford opens the Lakeshore Building at East Grand Boulevard at Woodward. In 1909, 1922, Temple Bethel opens at Woodward Avenue in Gladstone. 1930, the Schwitz opens in the Oakland Health Club. And something I found interesting around that time is some of the demographics started to change with the settling of Jewish populations into the neighborhood. 1940, the Jam Hardy organization produces films for the armed services. And 1950, the Beth Moses Synagogue, and 1960, the Phelps Lounge. And right around the 1950, 1960 mark is when there was a bit of a downturn in the area with everybody, or a lot of the Detroit natives moving out to the suburbs with the construction of the freeway and the interstate. And, you know, people started to abandon the urban context of Detroit and moving out to the outlying neighborhoods. As you can see, things started to get a bit more tumultuous in the 60s. Students stage a walkout at Northern High School, looters hit Oakland Avenue and Business Street, and that's a lot of when things just kind of, you know, if you will, hit the fan in the Detroit area with riots and looting and burning, and that was really kind of probably the pinnacle of the downturn of many of the neighborhoods in Detroit, including the North End neighborhood. We go to slide 3, a few more slides. The Chrysler Freeway is built through the North End in 1970, 1977. Dolores Bennett creates the playground at Brush and Bethune. That's the Bennett Park or Bennett Playground that a lot of us have taken an interest in as kind of an anchor of the community. 1980, over 30 acres north of Caniff are cleared for the Bing Group. I need to do a little bit more research into that. And then this graph here around 1980 starts to show kind of the, you know, not only the population declined from the 40s to the 90s, but also the primary groups of ethnicities in those areas. As you can see in the 1940s, looks like it's approximately 60% Caucasian, 40% African American, and by the 1950s, it had completely, you know, flipped. A lot more African American population, a lot less white population, and it just slowly progresses that way, along with a rapid, not a rapid, but a slow decline in just the overall population. And on this graph in the lower left, it shows the percentage of vacant housing in the North End from 1940 to 2010. So, you know, around 1940 to 1950 is a relatively low percentage, and by 1960 it jumps up to 10%, and then it was a slow change up to 90, and then from 1990 to 2000 it went from approximately 15% up to close to 40%. 94 community. Oh, all right. I'll just skim through these, and you can come back and look at them later if everyone's interested. Just some of the other building typologies in the neighborhood, and this is something focusing on the future of Detroit and the North End. These are some of the Sanborn maps that I borrowed from Nate and Mariah's Benchmark 1 study. Just to kind of get a quick glimpse of some of the density change over the years from 1897 to 1980. Again, from Mariah's Benchmark 1 presentation. And it, you know, kind of just a quick little note at 1800s. The neighborhood is established in the late 1800s, peak of neighborhood density, 1950 through present, declination of the neighborhood. And these are some maps from the Loveland website of just kind of overall population density, just at a overall neighborhood scale, a little bit more micro scale, and then even closer around the Bennett Playground. And some of the building typologies, primarily single family homes, duplex, triplex, quadplex, smallplex, large apartment complex, industrial, worship, and commercial. Some of the cathedrals and churches in the area built in the early 1900s tend to be more of a Gothic style. Housing typologies tend to be Victorian, bungalow, Tudor, Gothic, and colonial. And some of the primary building materials, as Mateo discussed in his presentation, brick, stone, wood, concrete, and stucco. And the last slide is just citations. And that concludes that presentation.
Okay, cool. There's a couple of thank you for that. There's a couple of date plates that need to be edited.
Okay.
I just saw it a minute ago.
Sorry if I forgot to tell you which slides to skip to as the time.
Oh, no, that's okay. But it's plate 7. You have You have the years sort of illustrated incorrectly there, and it looks like plate 6 and plate
Oh, whoops. I have
5
an
are
extra
duplicates,
zero in there.
right?
Plate 6, what
Maybe-
was that?
Plates 5 and 6 are duplicates.
They're actually, I mean, the information
they
is
sud-
duplicate information, but the maps are different.
Oh, right. Never mind. I take that back.
Okay.
I see that now. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep. Let me mark up my date mistakes on plates.
Okay.
7.
And then you can go right into your presentation. I'll just open that up.
Okay. Let me get
Lindsay,
that.
do you have any questions on the research?
Nope. Okay.
No questions.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
So let me set the clock back up again. You'll have 9 minutes. And you can go when you're ready to, Judd. We're
Okay,
on the
missing
first
middle, Detroit North End, as we all know. Slide 1 is just a cover sheet. We can skip right to slide 2. This is just kind of a brief index of the different sections: missing middle housing, North End Detroit, case studies, site analysis and selection, proposed project. Slide 3, this is my project statement from earlier on. I don't have to read through all of that, but it's essentially, again, touching on, the North End used to be a thriving neighborhood, and it's experienced some rapid decline over the years. In an effort to revitalize the neighborhood with the addition of the M1 rail and connectivity to the downtown, my goal is to create a mixed-use housing typology along with some townhouses, and it's essentially going to anchor on the cusp of John R. and Horton Street in order to have the mixed use be on a little bit more of the public commercial side of things and the townhouses on the neighborhood side of things. And slide 4, the missing middle. These are some information I gathered directly from the missing middle housing.com website. Just the various housing typologies, duplexes, bungalow court, carriage house, row house, fourplex, smallplex, townhouse, live work, courtyard apartments. Just the overall missing middle graphic on the top that a lot of us have used, just to kind of help define just the different opportunities. And the 2 types I'll be focusing on primarily are the townhouse and the live work. Some of the key characteristics are walkable context, small building footprint, lower perceived density, simple construction, creates a community, marketable, etc. Typologies referencing for the proposed project, small to medium-sized structure, a live work which has shops on the lower level and apartments on the upper level. Slide 5. This is a case study I found in Toronto, Ontario. And this just really kind of struck me as a similar building type I'm looking at for the town housing typology, with the rooftop terraces, the dense units, the overall apartment size, the overall unit sizing. This project is not yet complete. I find these renderings just really pop with the materials, the context, and the green, and it just creates a real nice sense of community and just feels warm and welcoming yet unique. Next, and this is just an example of one of the floor plans for one of the 2-bedroom units. And it appears that these units will be on each side of the building, and these look like they're 3-level buildings, so there must be a smaller unit on the lower level because the main floor entrance goes right up to the 2nd floor. And the 2nd floor is essentially the main level of this unit. And a nice perspective rendering of the rooftop terrace. Slide 7. This is the Calvi Institute for Theoretical Physics and Visiting Scholars residence by Julie Eisenberg or Koning Eisenberg. We looked at this in the original benchmark presentation. And essentially what I'm focusing on with this case study is just the relationship of the buildings and the connectivity of the elevated circulation between buildings and staircases, and just the form of how the building steps up towards the neighborhood at the corner of the street intersections. We go to slide 7. This is the New Harmony Athenaeum, forgive my
Athenaeum.
Athenaeum pronunciation, by Richard Meyer, built in 1979. And this is more of a case study on external circulation and stairs, just because that's an element I'm going to be developing more in this last final push on my project of the connectivity between the two buildings and the vertical circulation and how they relate. And I found this very intriguing and impressive of just how the stairs and the ramp and that main entrance just draws you into the space. And it not only does it create a visual interest, but I think it also creates an experience for people that are passing through it, and how the stairs kind of come in and out of that corner tower, and how the corner tower is not necessarily enclosed, but it just creates a unique design feature. And I just thought this was an interesting building to study just for circulation and how it takes advantage of creating views of both the town of New Harmony and also views to the countryside. And it leads people through the building and just, it creates an experience in itself. So next slide, slide 9. So this is essentially locating the neighborhood of the North End. We have Wayne County in Michigan going to the North End neighborhood in the city of Detroit. I highlighted the Fisher Building because the Fisher Building is kind of a cool visual feature from the site, the proposed site I'm looking at the corner of John R. and Horton. And if we go to the next slide, slide 10. Again, this is a slide from Benchmark 1, just kind of showing the local context and some of the existing building typologies and just what is around there. In the slide, in the photo on the top right, you see the proposed site, its relationship to the commercial and the neighborhood development on the corner of John R. and Horton. We have the urban farming initiative. Is it Mofi or Muffy? Muffy, sorry. The housing on the south side of Horton, housing on the north side of Horton. Looks like it's primarily Victorian architecture. The Bennett Playground a little bit further to the north here. The neighborhood is zoned for low density. We'll apply for a variance for the mixed use on the corner of John R., which I think is viable. It is a 0.549 acre lot, approximately 24,000 square feet. All lots I'm looking at, there's currently 4 lots I'm looking at, and they are all currently vacant. Next slide, slide 11. This is a site density isometric I developed to show the proposed building site and also the existing buildings, which I want to develop this a bit more as we move forward, but also the opportunity to bring in other similar building typologies that anchor along John R. with the mixed use and the townhouses, which could extend into the community and just create opportunities for new housing and also increase density in the neighborhood to help build the neighborhood back up while also creating opportunities for jobs and places to work. We go to the next slide, slide 12. This is the proposed site plan. It essentially shows the outline of the floor plans on the main level. To the left is the mixed use, and to the right are the townhouses. And you see the parking in back. I'm trying to create parking for the townhouse units while still providing some green space in the back, so it's not all just one paved area. And down on the left, you can kind of see, or you can see just a massing study of the different usages of the buildings, the townhomes, retail, and apartments. And again, the slide showing the view of the Fisher Building from the site itself, directly at the corner of John R. and Horton. So if we go to slide 13. So this is the first floor plan of both buildings. To the left, which is on the west side of the site, are the shops, and to the right are the townhouses. The townhouses are 2-bedroom units, each with their own garage, with 2.5 bathrooms. I think I'm going to investigate an opportunity to potentially add a 3rd bedroom to a few of the units that we'll look at momentarily. And so the program is essentially a 27,800 square foot building, 3 retail shops, 6 townhomes, and I will speed it up. So I won't go through all of that. That's all listed right here. So if we go to the second floor plan, this is the bedroom level of the townhomes, and then this is an apartment level of the mixed use. The mixed use is built up higher off the ground for the first level of the mixed use, just to kind of help pronounce the real estate portion of it. And as you see, the vertical circulation to the left of the west building, or I'm sorry, to the right of the west building. We have 4 apartments on this level. There are 4 one-bedroom apartments. Some of the units have like a den area that could turn into a guest room. Some of the other units are just nice, large one-bedroom units. So we go to slide 15. This is the 3rd floor. These are private rooftop terraces above 4 of the townhouses. And we have a community space that's open, that you can open with overhead coiling doors to open it up to the community terrace. So the community terrace is available to the residents at all times, whereas the community internal space is something that can be opened for special functions or by residents of the building potentially. And again, we have 3 units on this floor, a 2-bedroom and 2 one-bedroom units. We go up to the 4th floor. We have 2 apartments on this level. I'm developing the apartment to the north a bit, trying to get a 2nd bedroom in there. And the apartment to the south is also a 2-bedroom, so there'll be 2 2-bedroom units. So we currently have, I believe, have 9 apartments total. These are different isometric views of the project, just to give a view from the southeast, the southwest, and from the northwest, just the different features that are occurring. So slide 17. Just some elevations to start to study and develop how the building will look from both the south and the west, the 2 primary anchors of the neighborhood and the public context. And slide 18. Again, some, instead of isometric views, just some perspective views to give it a little bit of a feeling of how the space will feel from the street level. And we go to slide 19. And these are enlarged floor plans of the townhomes units. As you can see, the main level is kind of an open floor plan, living, dining, kitchen, entry, garage. Upper level is the sleeping level with 2 ample bedrooms with 2 full bathrooms, and then the stairs continue up to the rooftop. And these also have basements for laundry and utilities and storage, etc. And slide 20 is the citations. So that concludes my presentation.
Thanks, Judd.
Yep.
Lindsay, do you want to take the floor?
Whew, that's a lot to get through.
Oh, we just lost.
Are we still on?
Yep, I can hear you. There you are.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still here.
Good.
So I'll just start. Do you want me to start?
Sure. Wherever you want.
Okay. Everyone is like frozen on the screen, so I can't really tell what's going on. But
Yeah, I think it's actually Judd's presentation was a little blocky at the end, and I couldn't maybe hear all of it when he was talking about the elevations.
yeah. So a couple of comments. I liked how he went outside of kind of the residential component for some of his case studies. On the 3rd one, which is on page 8, you did talk a lot about views and how circulation kind of played into views. And I thought it would be nice, instead of seeing kind of these outside wild perspectives, like actually seeing more of the views that they created, like more inside out. And I think this one particularly played into your final design. Similar kind of elements as far as your exterior staircases and how you're project and accessing building elements. I did have a few questions. These are just technical questions. And you particularly had a little bit of trouble, I think, resolving it on any of your floor plans on the bottom left-hand side. Doors to your shops. And then I didn't know how people would get into the one-bedroom apartment or the kitchen living area on the third and fourth floor plans. Like, there's no way for me to kind of access those spaces. That being said, it's really clear and easy to see what your program is on all of your spaces. Like that, I can very quickly identify where people are going, where your mechanical units are going, where your circulation is. I would encourage you to work a little bit more on your circulation and access. You have this great community space that's a little bit isolated on top of your building. And I think it'd be a great opportunity to maybe work a little bit more with that circulation exterior stair tower to bring people to that space and not just have that one little narrow entry, but maybe more of a grand entry, and to kind of highlight that space as well. So those were kind of my first glance overarching comments.
Thank you. That's some great feedback. I think the community space has been developing as I've been moving along, and the exterior circulation needs to be developed more. But I like the idea of making that more of a grand entrance. I think that could really help just take it to another level.
Hey, Judd, I'm losing you on a lot of that. I mean,
Okay.
I may need you to either change your bandwidth or sign out and sign back in.
Let me try signing out and signing back in. Did you hear?
I'm not getting any of this.
Can you hear me better now?
I'm only getting like every other fifth word.
I'm getting everyone clear.
Could you hear me better when I took the headphones out?
No, this is the worst connection you and I have ever had.
Okay, let me try to sign off and sign back on.
I'm not sure what he said.
He's going to sign off and sign back on.
And you're right, Lindsay, everyone's frozen.
Everyone is frozen. Yeah.
This is weird. And I'm at Lawrence Tech. I should be like getting
You sh-
rocket fiber
you should have
here.
Yeah, you should have like the best connection ever.
Can you hear me, Mark?
Whoever was speaking, I could hear them.
Sometimes
Everything's been coming through clear and smooth on my end of it.
I'm not hearing anything.
Everything's been coming through clear for me, but Mark has been really grainy and choppy.
Yeah.
So it is Mark then.
Wow, I'm not even able to send a text message.
Can you hear me now? Still.
Okay, I'm gonna close the class. Can you hear me? Can you hear that, Lindsay? I'm gonna restart this class.
You're breaking up.
Thank you. I'll do that. I'm gonna close this right now. Sorry, everyone.
He said he's going to restart the class.
Gotta love technology.
Tell me about it.
Everyone was fine on my end.
Yeah, mine was fine except for that one moment when I signed off and signed back on. It froze up for a minute. I purposely stayed at work so I hopefully wouldn't have any issues.
It sounds like Mark's connection was the one that was actually having the issue.
I think he said he's on campus, and I know the internet on campus is awful.
Is it?
Yeah.
So today, I waited in line in jury duty for 5 hours, and I'm
Oh,
still
no.
I'm still convinced I waited longer in a Walmart line to get out to check out. I'm still convinced.
What? Why did you have to wait in line for 5 hours?
Well, here in Michigan and illustrious Detroit, we decide that, since there's 607, this is actually a Wayne County, so it's a Wayne County, so there's more, like, in the area, there's like, 4 or 5 million people in this area, in the metro region. So they're like, okay, yeah, we'll just bring 100 people when we only need 24 to jury duty today. So, it took forever to get everybody's names and check in, and then people came late. And so we waited until 9:15 to get called up. And then we waited another 2 hours just to find out that the Nimrods that were in the courtroom